Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, and a very special welcome to our two-time children's book author, Barbara Swisher Amundson. How are you, Barbara?
I am just great, Miriam. It's an exciting day for me for sure, and being my second book, I couldn't be happier. It's been an exciting time for sure.
Yes, and I'm so excited about this new book that you have out in the world. So, first of all, tell everybody the name of your new book.
Well, my new book is called ALFIE Saves the Day, and it's been and I don't know if you know, but it's to the two grandchildren. In fact, it's about the two grandchildren. I have we have 12 grandchildren, but of these two, this one being Stanley and this Alfie in the book, that's the characters. But in real life, it's Gabe and Emmett. That's would be representing Gabe, and that's Emmett. And we spent a lot of time with them. They live right here in our city. And I get all my stories from them. I got my first story from them on the Stanley Standing Ovation. And
Yes.
so I get all my stories. And this one it's based on a true story. And so your question is, what is this book about? Well, this is really what happened. We planted flowers one time a couple of years ago when Emmett was only 4. And we happened to have some pink geraniums in the corner. Well, we didn't have pink geraniums in the rest of the pots that were around in the front. And one evening, some deer and rabbits got to the flowers. And he went outside and they had been chewed at and eaten and kind of destroyed. And there was the pink geraniums. Without giving the whole story away, the pink geraniums were in the corner of our home in the pot, still untouched. And so the 4-year-old believed that at that point that it had to be the pink geraniums were the reason why that the deer and rabbits didn't like pink geraniums, and that they survived them coming to the yard and destroying the rest of the flowers. And so even to this day, if you would look out at my front, there's actually pink geraniums in every pot, because that's sort of a thing now that we do every spring with the boys, is we plant pink geraniums
Oh,
to keep away the deer and rabbits. And so far it has worked. So the book is about that, but I've changed it a little bit. And how I changed it was it's to do with an after school program and a summer program that the children in this program decide to create an organic garden at this after school program. And it's fun. They work together as a team. They run into adversity when there happens to be some animals that come into the garden and destroy some of it. And of course, Alfie has a plan to keep them away. And in the book also, Stanley, he himself does an experiment, and he's keeping in character from the first book that I had, where he's sort of the thinker and very
mhm.
much involved in experiments and doing sort of science mind thinking. So that's what the book is about. And the book is for all the grandchildren, even though it is based on Stanley and Stanley and
Yes.
Alfie, or Gabe and Emmett.
Yes. Well, I love that. It is such a fun book, and I'm so glad to hear the true story after reading the
Mm-hmm.
story in the book, and they're very similar. And I'll just say that it takes the reader through this little adventure of planting and the garden and all of the things that happen. I just want to point out, this is my favorite page in the book. Look at the actual photograph of your grandchildren and then the illustrations. How special. How special. How do your grandchildren feel about being
Oh,
represented in
Miriam,
a book?
I can't even tell you how excited. First of all, the first book, Gabe was, because it's more his book.
Hmm.
And then when Emmett came along and says he has to have a book of his own where he saves the day, and that's actually where the title came from, is that he wanted to be the hero. He wanted to save the day or do something. So it was so funny driving in the car. He was helping me with what titles he wanted for his book. But it is so, the two boys. I mean, like you say, you pointed out that picture is, I sent that to the illustrator, and that's the characters she came up for it. And of course, I told her I want his hair a certain way. I want freckles on the older
Hmm.
child's face, And that particular, so this character is exactly the same in the first book as they are in the second, and it's been so much fun. But when Emmett, the Alfie character, got his book this time, biggest smile on his face. He finally has his book, and he's calling it his book, and the other one calls the Stanley book their book. So
Oh,
that was the reason that I actually started to write a book. Was to leave a legacy for the grandkids. And it ended up being a bestseller, the first book, and it ended up being #1 in Canada in my category. So that came along with it. But
beautiful.
it was really for the children, for the grandkids. Now, as I mentioned to you, we have other grandchildren as well. I have step grandchildren. They're now wanting me to write a book for them, the younger ones. And
Yes.
I'm kind of it's quite a bit involved. So as you
Yes.
know, so I'm not sure I'm going to be doing a third one, but anyway, it's
Yes.
it's just been terrific. It's been terrific.
Well, a beautiful legacy that you can leave for your grandchildren. And they're all named in the book, dedicated to them. And take a breather. I was saying to you, I feel like we just did this interview. And because your first book came out in August, and here we are in June
Yes.
with your second book. Well, I love working with you whenever you're ready, if you want to publish more books, of course. But let's talk about this book for a moment. What is it that you hope that parents and kids will take away from Alfie Saves the Day?
Well, what in this book, there is definitely, it shows brotherly love between the two boys. It also shows kids working together, overcoming adversity when there's something that happens, and they actually use humor to overcome that. And all children, I think that would be a good lesson. It's a soft lesson. It's not hitting them over the head with it, but it's a good, kind. It's a kind book as far as even as to the environment, being kind in the environment and the animals, and I actually, all the facts in here are true as far as the plants and things, but the animals are drawn as,
I saw that.
as
So
characters. I mean, you're not going to find that too often with a deer in the yard with a bib on, but I brought some humor into it. And so I think parents and children, when they're reading this book, not only are they going to learn about plants and different things about, like, eggplants and tomatoes are actually fruits and not vegetables, things like that. But I think they will also take away the kinder things in here about love and kindness and working together and overcoming adversity.
I love that. And I also like how you say there's soft messages in the story.
Yes.
This is quite an entertaining, fun book. And of course, we can always grab those soft messages from the stories. So this, I was going to call you Amanda because of your last name, Barbara. This being your second book, how would you say the process was different for you than the first time?
Well, Miriam, this time it was pretty smooth because the first time was pretty smooth, actually. This time, because you know exactly how it's going to work, what's next, you know your deadlines, what they mean, you know why they're there. You understand now how much time your company needs in order to get things uploaded, and that's the good thing too about your company, keeping us really on deadlines. I'm pretty good about that anyway, but it's always helpful to go, okay, what's your commitment next time we talk? But as far as what was, it was an easy process. It really was. Well, I think you probably will be asking me what would be the struggles, or what did I find tougher? Well, as I said to you, my first book, I found the marketing part, of course, as you probably hear, and the social media part is always a challenge, especially for some of us older folks. But this time I actually hired a social media person, and PMG Creative, and it's actually Patricia Gallagher, and I have to give her a shout out because it's been such a simpler process for me this time. I literally can just say, okay, here's what we're doing. And she's been really, really great in that regard to help me get my social media set up, because that's not something that I'm super comfortable with. But as far as I'm also not super comfortable with putting myself out there so much. Like, here I am again, it's my book again, or buy my book. That's a little bit you get over it. You have to get over it, but it's a little bit different. So that would be some of the challenges. But the process, going back to your question, the process was very, very, very simple, and timelines went according to the way they should be. So I was really happy about that.
Good. And I mean, what you're saying is something that a lot of authors struggle with. It's the putting yourself out there, letting people know, right? And it's more than you saying, buy my book. It's you sharing this beautiful message, this beautiful story with other people. So I will take a moment right now and let our viewers know that ALFIE Saves the Day is available on Amazon. So even though Barbara may not be telling you, I will tell you, go grab a copy of this book, find the first books, Stanley's Standing Ovation. Also a wonderful book. And they're just fun books that you're going to enjoy with the children in your life. Sit down, spend that time with them, read to them. We know that it's so, so important. And it's there in softcover edition, hardcover, and ebook. Whether you're in Canada like we are, or the US, or anywhere in the world, you'll find these wonderful books.
Yes.
So yeah, Barbara, how does it feel to have another children's book out in the world?
I can't quite believe it. I got the idea in September of 23 that, because my twin sister Brenda, and I mentioned her in my dedication, came across your program, and we had always talked about it over the years, but she came across the program and she said, hey, take a look at this. And so I did take a look at it. So then I saw that there was Believe Live was being held in St. Catharines, or down in St. Catharines area, Niagara on the Lake, in Ontario. And being originally from Canada, I'm always excited to go back to Canada. But I decided to go and do that because I thought I liked the way your program looked from what she showed me. And so I signed up for that. And I went there with a commitment that I was going to write a book. And the process just really was simple in order to keeping you, on track, what you have to do next and how it all works. And so that's what I started doing, September of 23. And here I am now in June of 25 with 2 books behind me. It's hard to believe. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. I truly believe that. That's it's just something you put your mind to, and with your help, you certainly can achieve that goal. Anybody can.
Well, thank you. Is there any other piece of advice that you have for an author who's thinking of publishing their second book? Any piece of advice you have for them?
Well, first of all, go with your company, Miriam Laundrie Publishing. And you're not paying me to say this, because there's your people, and the people in your company are really wonderful to work with. And I felt like I was never alone. There was times, Julie, I worked really close with her, and Lauren, and just terrific, and Samara, all these ladies that really were there. And so my advice to other authors would be, don't think of it as just this big process. Where do I start? Where do I go? Or it's just too big of and you don't think of it that way. You think of it as one step at a time, because that's in fact how the program works. You literally are starting at the beginning, and you only have to worry about the first part. And then the modules keep helping you go through each of the steps and each of the process to get to the very end. And so it doesn't become so overwhelming. And I think for those authors that feel that way, or aspiring authors that feel that way, that it can be overwhelming, they don't have to feel that way. They have really got your company to hold our hand, or hold their hand, and help us through the process. And it's big. Anybody can do it. If they have the idea of a book, and with Sharon Jennings' help, the editor, you can actually get a quality book, and you can get it in your hands within a year. It's it can be done. So
yes, Barbara. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Barbara. Where can our viewers find you? So for sure, we want everybody to go to Amazon today, grab a copy of both books. I'm going to say ALFIE Saves the Day, and also get a copy of Barbara's first book. But where else can they find you?
Well, the biggest thing where the biggest place, I guess, is my website, and it's author Barbara .com, just authorbarbara.com. And my social media person did just a wonderful job on that as far as like what's www.authorbarbara.com. She did a wonderful job getting the pages set up. I had Sarah Jones initially, and she got me a great start. And then I had Patricia come in and just tweak it and add some pages and move things around. And after we won some awards from the last book, the Mom's Choice Award and the Reader's Favorite, 5 stars. And we also won the Impact Award, International Impact Award. And so that had to be on the website. So that's where they can find me, find the books. We're on Facebook as well. And Facebook is Stanley and Alfie Stories by Barbara Swisher Amundson. It's kind of a mouthful, but it's Stanley and Alfie Stories by Barbara Swisher Amundson. We also have, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on X. So all those particular, you can find those on the website, those particular social media links. But the big one is the authorbarbara.com.
Excellent. And congratulations on all of the awards that your first book won. That's so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm going to be applying for some awards for Mr. Alfie as well. And I'm hoping in the next month or two, I can happily say that I'm going to be getting some awards for that too.
Oh, great.
Pretty excited.
Great. Well, we'll be watching that on your social media channels. Barbara, before we go, is there anything you wish I would have asked you or anything else you'd like to share?
It's just been a rewarding experience from the very first time of September 23 to now. Just very rewarding, very satisfying. It's a chapter in my life that I've always wanted to do, and here it is, my book chapter. You get emotional because it's something that I've wanted to do a long time. I was an attorney in my working years, and that's I dealt with a lot with children because I was a family law attorney, but that is so different from being able to explore my creative side by writing a book, by writing a children's picture book or 2 books. It's been so rewarding, and your company has helped me do that. So I feel good about that. I'm a published author, and I'm actually a best-selling published author. It just can't get better than that. I feel very, very blessed, and I feel very thankful and grateful for all what I've been able to achieve with not only the support of your company, but also the support of my family, my husband, Kevin, and all our children and grandchildren. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank all the people that have supported me on my first book, Stanley's Standing Ovation, because I've reached out to some of my high school classmates because we just had our big 50th high school reunion last year, made contact with all of them. And there was over 100 that we made contact with, and they were tremendous. They're all up in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and supported me tremendously. And then I have all these friends in the United States, as I live here in Minnesota and California. And I have great friends and great support. And I just am so grateful for everybody to have supported me during this journey.
Thank you, Barbara. I love that. I love your heart. Thank you for sharing all of that. Friends, you know what to do. Go find Barbara on her website, social medias, and definitely grab a copy of ALFIE Saves the Day. Thank you for being here, everybody. Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you so much, Miriam.
Thanks. Bye-bye.